Boys and girls, welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Starting from Scratch podcast on episode number 27 with me, John Kleisch. If this is your first time listening to the podcast, thank you very much for tuning in. What we are doing here is just documenting my journey of $0 owned in commercial real estate and zero commercial real estate experience up until the point today where I own two buildings valued at about $2.5 million, and I'm 50% owner in those. I'm based out of Phoenix, Arizona. One building is in Glendale, Arizona, and the other is in Sun City. My goal here is to make this as raw, unfiltered, unedited, and just documenting what I'm doing, when I'm doing, and how things are working out. So, it has been a journey up until this point. That's for damn sure. Holy cow. So, last week's episode, I was just toast. I was just done. I was so sick of the word eviction. It's been just dominating everything in my life and just physically tired, mentally tired of it. And then finally, now I have like some great news to report. Finally, if you deal with enough pain, there's something good on the other end. And here it is. So tenant one is my biggest tenant. He's the one that got evicted. So now I was nervous about filling that spot. However, I was casually talking with tenant number 2 about him wanting that space. And then once it actually happened, it was like, oh, wow, holy cow, that was a surprise. Here we go. Started negotiating back and forth. The big sticking point was all of the stuff that was left behind. It's like hoarder central. Like I can't even exaggerate at how much stuff was actually there. I don't even know how many cars. For sure over 30, and just an enormous amount. I mean, just imagine a wholesale hoarder house when you walk into it, but a commercial building. So that was a big sticking point. He made it very clear. He's like, dude, I'm not doing anything with this junk. That's just way too much work. There's no way. And I knew that relying on the gentleman that got evicted to come get this junk was pretty much not going to happen. So that would rely on us to get rid of it. And a lot of these were customer cars, so it would have been just a complete nightmare. So the whole time, my partner John was like, man, we got to find somebody that wants the junk. Everyone I'm talking to, I'm bringing them through. I'm like, hey, I'll work you out a deal if you take on the junk. And everyone was literally, their comment was like, yeah, right, you crazy, good luck. No one's going to take on all this junk. This is insane. Like, ay. And then even tenant 2 was like that as well. And then we were negotiating, and then finally it was like, hey, if you want this deal, we can get you this deal, but you gotta take all of this junk on. And he was thinking about it, and I was here yesterday. Actually, I was on property yesterday, and tenant 1's brother came through, perfect timing to come get some things, who is allowed on the property. And I worked out a deal with him saying, hey, Josh is now taking over this stuff. They actually know each other. They're friends. So I said, hey, Josh is now taking over all of this stuff. You are the middleman between, tenant number 1 and all of this stuff. You know a lot about it. You guys can work together and get this shop all cleaned up. And in 3 weeks, so we're signing that lease. Basically, he's going to adopt the same lease that we had for tenant 1, which is okay. It's definitely a discount, but there are big jumps in the next year. There's like a $700 bump in rent, so that'll bring it up to much closer to market. And he's going to adopt that lease, and it's going to start here April 1st. So 3 weeks, basically, he has to clean up this spot and then move his stuff in, and then that way I can rent out his spot. Now, I was thinking of doing all of that back area as rent by the bay, but before we go there, I was there, I forget what day, moving cars around, and these 2 guys come up, and they must have saw the Facebook ad. The guy's father used to work with the old guys that used to rent this spot out from like 20 years ago. So he recognized the place. They drove by, popped in, wanted to rent one of the outdoor bays. At that time, I had some other guys that were interested in renting that whole back lot. So I just showed them the one area that the other guys wouldn't even get. And I was like, hey, it's this busted down blue tarp area where it's just got a sunshade that's just torn to pieces. I mean, just looks like a tornado ripped through there. Terrible. And they came through. They liked it. They wanted it. We got to run some power to it. And I was going to put up a metal roof over this area, 28 by 28, outdoor space. It was going to be about $4,000 to put up a metal roof over this structure. And I was going to do it. We were going to pay $4,000. And then they were like, hey, I don't want to do metal. I want to just have another shade like this. And I was like, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 1 month free and you handle the roof situation. And I don't got to do nothing with it. And they were ecstatic. So yesterday we signed a lease, month-to-month lease, $1,600 for a 28 by 28 outdoor space. They are taking care of the roof, whatever they do. And that's great. It's going to be a really good experiment on how these outdoor bays work. And it just shows you how easy it was to list this place and get this bay. I feel like I wanted to get a little bit more. I was trying to get closer to, I forget what I wanted to get him at. Maybe it was 2,000. I think 2,000 is where I first started, but that seems to be a little bit too high. But also realizing now, having 3, 4, 5 different people or businesses there with maybe a couple more employees, that place is going to get pretty crowded. So I really don't know how feasible it is to do any much more rent by the bays. I have 2 more outdoor spots that are about the same size. They're 25 by 25. So those should bring in 1,600 for sure. And then I have another small bay that I could probably get for 1,000, maybe 1,200, probably $1,000. And then I got 2 other individual bays that I can rent out as well, but maybe I can make that a double and have 3 doubles and then a single. So we'll see. But it would be nice now to rent out that back spot where tenant 2 is at. He was leased at $4,200, which I thought was really cheap. It's 3,800 square foot with a big lot. You get about 8,000 square feet of exterior lot that you can park a lot of different things. So I think it's very valuable to the right person. I really feel like I can get a new lease at 5,000. So if I can get that place at 5,000, which is a stretch, let's just call it 4,500 because I can get that for sure. It was at 4,200, which is crazy cheap. Better yet, no, let's call it $4,200. I'm getting 7,500 from the front. Let's bust out the calculator. It's a little bit late. 500 plus 4,200 plus 1,600 plus 1,600 plus 1,600 plus 1,000. If I get that place all leased up on those numbers right there, which is cheap, $17,500. This place is costing me, let's do the math, $245 mortgage. Insurance. Oh, I got an insurance update for you guys too. Holy cow. $416 a month for insurance. Taxes, I don't exactly know yet, but I bet it's $1,500 a month at least. We're at $9,161. And then there's going to be other things that we're going to save for, CapEx and whatnot. Probably $1,000 a month. So call it 10 grand. And that puppy should bring in 17.5. That's cash flow, baby. That's cash flow. I don't even know what the building is going to be worth then. Probably $2.5 million. I think I got to get to $22,000 a month to make it worth $3 million. And that's also a very real possibility too. There is plenty of space on this property to put another building. And even with normal 3% bumps, 22 is not that far off, especially if the price of these outdoor bays gets up a little bit more. What I need to do is figure out what like good amenities are for these outside bays that can help increase the rent. Maybe it's more storage. Maybe it's a swamp cooler. Who knows? But I'll figure that out, and I think we can get this place humming along. But even if we settle at $15,000, like I said, that's $10,000 of expenses, $5,000 of true actual cash flow. It's not bad. That is not bad at all. Nothing to sneeze at there. I bet that increases the value by about $700,000. So that'll increase my net worth by 350 grand, which is really cool. Really cool. Insurance too, man. Oh, wow. The last quote that we got was $17,000 for insurance. And that was just absolutely nuts. The quote we got about 6 months ago was like 13.7, I believe. Started at 16 and then they came down to 13.7. And that was ridiculous. My other building, my office building, we pay $484 a month or something like that. So a little over 5 grand. In this building, they wanted $17,000. And I was like, yeah, that's not happening. And then shout out Colby Fryer. If you're in Arizona and you need an insurance guy, even if you don't need an insurance guy, but you want to check rates or whatever, he's the man, dude. I mean, he literally got me a plan for $5,000, and he worked his tail off. He worked his tail off to get him. And I mean, quotes were coming in at $1,000, and I was ready to jump on him. He's like, hold on. Let me get to work. And he did. Colby Fryer, fantastic farmers agency, based out of Buckeye. He even drove all the way out to me to do the signing of all the documents and stuff like that. So guys, shout out Colby Fryer, man. You the man. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Yeah, $1,000 a month. That's about $160,000 in value that got, that we got from not having to pay that crazy insurance. So that's cool. So finally, guys, wins are happening, and it feels really good. It feels really, really, really good. We were there last Friday, hopped on a forklift and just started picking up all these cars and moving them and just smashing them in the back corner just to make room. That way we can start prepping and making it happen. And I'm glad we did, because those guys showed up as we were moving those cars out of their spots. So it worked out really, really well. And now you're going through all of it and figuring out what the power situation is. I know we got to do a bunch of work on that tomorrow. We're going over there and doing a really deep dive into the power situation and kind of just find out what it's going to take to get these buildings up to snuff. And then I can start taking pictures of the actual bays and see what kind of activity we get. I have a feeling a lot of people have been messaging me wanting an indoor shop. Actually, I know that because I asked them. I would say everybody says, oh yeah, I want an indoor shop. I want an indoor shop. I want an indoor shop. And I have that listed at $1,500. But if I could get $1,500 a bay on an interior bay with a lift, that's really good. That's really good, because that's about half the size of my blue tarp area. So you're talking about double the price per square foot. Maybe it is something to think about. I can try leasing it out and doing a little test and see how many people would actually want to rent out that spot with the lift. I'll come show them exactly, and we'll see. That might be the ticket right there. But I don't know. We'll play that day by day. So guys, major wins. I feel like the wind is at my back instead of, head on, just clobbering me. So that's really cool. And then also too, it's funny when I'm meeting these new guys up for the lessees, and I'm like, man, I'm looking at him, asking him all these questions, really trying to vet him really hard. And I'm like, God, what's going on in your brain right now? How bad are you going to wreck me here? What's the plan here, guys? So I don't know. We'll see. These ones, we're talking to guys that are renting $1,600 a month outdoor spots, right? So the qualification process is a lot different than someone that's running a business and their rent's going to be $7,500 or $4,000 or whatever. So month-to-month lease too. It's like kind of whatever is the research that I've gathered from talking to people that rent to this type of demographic. It's kind of just like, yeah, man. I mean, if they can pay, they can pay. If not, they're gone. But golly. So there's probably some other things that happened in that week that I just completely forgot about. However, this has been crazy whirlwind. Starting to wind down my pool business. I'm finishing up a lot of jobs actually, so that's really cool. I'm putting like I don't know, 6, 7 grand, 8 grand of revenue on the board here in the last couple of weeks here before that closing happens, which is in about 20 days from now. So that's pretty cool too. I haven't really thought about that much. I've just been so dang busy. But now with Grand completely opening up, my schedule of not having to get any of the stuff out is just like incredible. But still a lot of work to be done. The roof needs to get done. We need to shore up all of this electric issues, and there are a handful of issues that need to get fixed from our lease as well. Swamp coolers, like we're dropping loot. It's going to be like pretty dang close to 100 grand is going to get spent here. But like you guys saw those numbers. So once that place gets humming along, we'll be in great, great shape. No update on Thunderbird, really. There's some crazy fire stuff, but nothing crazy there. A little bit slower than anticipated, but it's not like we expected that to fly off the shelf neither. So we're just in a holding pattern. Maybe we'll reduce the price. The HOA thing's a whole nother story. That's kind of in limbo as well. So kind of a lot of that whole deal is just hanging out in the background and still looking for tenants, because if we get tenants, that kind of solves all of our problems. And then it's like, all right, everything else doesn't matter at that point. So nothing good, nothing bad to report on that end. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up here. Boys and girls, really appreciate you sticking around, hanging around, and listening to the whole episode. If you liked it, please leave me a review. And if you know that of someone that would like something like this, please share it. That would mean the world to me. That way we can grow the audience and be a lot more fun for everybody. On that note, boys and girls, we are wrapping it up. And I'm out of here. Take her easy.